up your YouTube, search for Stukeley Meadows, watch on your big screen.
Or another device if you're at home.
Get yourself comfy, this could take a while. What a happy scene. Something new every day for your long-term memory. This is so exciting, it is nearly time for a Stukeley assembly.
Hello there and welcome to today's Values Assembly. You know what we're going to do. We're going to get started in the usual ways. Here we go. For each other we, every day we, to improve we, and together we will. And our everyday focuses are, and our Stukeley motto is, and our Stukeley curriculum is, and 4 words that always make the magic happen. Brilliant. So yes, welcome to today's curriculum assembly. And as you can see, I'm in a slightly different filming location and minus my neon on air sign. But nonetheless, here we are ready for another Tuesday assembly. But let's think back to last week. We met yet another expert. Does anyone remember who it was? That person that was really familiar to me. Do you remember? Yep, we met Billy Stevens, my son, didn't we? And he was talking all about his job in music and music technology. I wonder, do you remember, if you can remember, he was showing us all those kind of light desks and sound desks and laptops that we use for balancing all the different frequencies and all of those things. Quite complicated, wasn't it? The thing that I think that really made me think was when he said to be an expert, you have to practice a lot. And he also said that you also have to be determined and keep going with things, even if it's a little bit on the tough side. So really important message for all of us, isn't it? About being determined, keeping on going and making sure, particularly if we're learning an instrument or even if it was a sport, it would be the same thing. We have to practice a lot in order to get better at it. Well, this week's curriculum focus is computing and technology. Before we meet our expert though, I wonder what that looks like or what you understand when you are in a computing lesson. And I know what with the pandemic and everything, we've not done computing quite the same way in school, although it's beginning to come back in now. What you remember when we're doing computing in school, what do you actually do? What does that look like? So you can pause me now and have a think. What do we do when we're doing computing in school? What are we actually learning? Go. So I'm sure you had a really good chat around that, but I was thinking that at our school, when we are talking about the subject of computing, we're thinking about 3 main ideas. And those ideas are programming is one aspect of it, digital literacy is another aspect of it, and then finally, the last aspect is understanding technology. And those key concepts and ideas are what all the other learning we do are built upon. Those are our foundation points. So what does that actually look like in the classroom or in the context of a computing classroom? Well, in terms of the programming aspect, we learn right from year 1 all the way up through school. We learn about how we talk about computer language or programming language. Coding is the term that we would use, where we learn how we use algorithms to code and program a computer, so to make things do the things that we want them to do. And so we learn about that. That's the programming side of it. The other side of it, digital literacy, is about understanding what we can do with computers. So we look at the internet and we learn how to use the internet effectively to find things out. We also look at how we can be safe when we're using the internet, so the e-safety aspect. We learn about using search engines to help us find out information more efficiently on the internet, for example. But we also learn how to use particular applications and programs as well. The other aspect to it is the understanding technology part. So that's where we begin to be able to identify the different parts of the computer and understanding what different parts of the computer actually do for us. How does it actually work? That's the understanding technology, and how can we make it work for us? So those are the kind of broad overview of what learning looks like in computing when we're doing that at school. And I'm sure you had lots of more specific details than the ones that I've been able to kind of give us an overview of there. Now, the interesting thing I think about computing is that because we use technology in our lives all the time, we use it, but we don't necessarily think about how it works or understand how it works. I know, for example, that I definitely don't. So part of our improving our computer literacy and understanding more about computing is about understanding about how it works and how things do the things that they do. And that will help us better understand the technological world that we live in. So I think it's probably time that we meet today's expert. I wonder who it will be. It is somebody that uses computing in their everyday job, and we are going to put those 6 questions to them as ever. So over to you, today's expert.
Hello, my name's Nick. I live near Cambridge. I'm actually Mrs. Horn's husband. We have 3 children, but only one of them is still living at home with us. The other 2 are off at university. As a child, I really liked taking things apart, and I could even put them back together again sometimes as well. I went to school a very, very long time ago in a small village school out in the countryside. We didn't have computers back when I was your age at primary school. I work designing computer chips and programs for something called machine learning. These bunny ears have been put on by a machine learning program my team worked on. What I like most about my role? Seeing our work used by millions and millions of people in millions and millions of gadgets. It's not just bunny ears. Machine learning makes your phone camera pictures better, listens out for Hey Alexa, makes your TV picture clearer, and helps Facebook recommend things to you, and much, much more. Here's a little computer chip, that silver thing there, from inside a mobile phone. This one's a Samsung chip, I think, and it's the kind of thing that my team works on. Oh, biggest challenge in my role? Technology moves so fast, we continually need to do more to keep up. You will want the latest, fastest smartphones, so we have to make our chips faster and cleverer each year. So if you want to become a computer expert, you need to be curious about how things work and start playing with simple computers. You can get microbits and Raspberry Pis these days, which are a great place to start. Here's a picture of my first computer when I was at school. These were quite expensive. It's called a BBC Micro, and this is about 35 years old. Here's what you can get today. Much, much cheaper and much, much more powerful. This is a Raspberry Pi. It does a lot more, and you can program it with Scratch, which is a great way to start. So, have fun and get programming. Bye-bye.
Thanks to today's expert. If I'm honest, I don't think I'd ever really given much thought to how all of those little images, you know, the little bunny ears and the teddy nose that he had on, about how any of that worked. I didn't really think about the fact that somebody had to kind of invent it and work out the technology behind it so that that could happen. I hadn't really given it any thought, if I'm honest. It also reminded me when Mr. Horn was talking about how when he was younger, do you remember he said that he liked taking things apart and sometimes was able to put them back together again? Well, my brother was like that when we were growing up. My brother used to like taking things apart, usually, I have to say, my Barbie toys. And he used to take them apart, but the only problem was he wasn't so good at putting them back together again. But he was always curious about what they looked like on the inside. And actually, he went into a career in computing as well. So perhaps to get a career in computing, perhaps thinking and being interested in how things work is really important. And Mr. Horn said there, didn't he? It's really important to be curious and want to know how things work. So really good advice there, I think. And actually, I think it's a good advice for learning anyway. Being curious is how we learn things and how we move forward in our learning in lots of areas, but particularly in computing. So a big thank you to Mr. Horn for giving us such good advice. Well, I think actually we're just about there for today's assembly. I wonder who might be the expert next week and what we might be finding out about. I don't know. I know that I talked to some people in my class and they were saying that they'd really like their mum or their dad to be today's expert. And they need to drop me an email. So if you think your mum or your dad will make a really good expert, they could perhaps email me and we'll see if they can be a star on our assembly one Tuesday. So you know what I'm going to say. Work hard, be kind, everyone. Have a great week. See you next time.
Oh, another superb expert chat in our Tuesday curriculum assembly. Thank you, Mrs. Stevens, for introducing our expert, and thank you to Mr. Horn for getting on it and sharing his expertise with us. I wonder who it's going to be next week. Before that though, let's celebrate some birthdays. Hey, 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 it's time to say we've got a Stukeley birthday. Hey, 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 it's time to say we've got a Stukeley birthday. Oh, come on! Actually, it's only one birthday, but it's a good one. We're saying happy birthday to Samuel. Happy birthday to Sam in year 1. Wow, you've been at Stukeley over here already. Happy birthday, Master Shaw. Have a wonderful day. I know you'll have celebrated with your family already. You've got your friends here. Enjoy. Right, let's finish with most important 60 seconds. Oh no, hang on. Oh no! Oh no! I didn't do that on purpose. What I meant to say was, let's finish with everyday knowledge for you. Oh man, I can't believe I did that. And we are learning to remember things worth remembering, learning to remember things worth remembering, learning to remember things worth remembering, everyday knowledge for you. And we are learning to remember things worth remembering, learning to remember things worth remembering, learning to remember things worth remembering, everyday knowledge for you. You know what I'm not going to be doing in everyday knowledge? Yeah, you do. But we are going to focus on some number sequences and some history, some famous dates. Okay. 1 times 3 is, 2 times 3 is, 3 times 3 is, 4 times 3 is, 5 times 3 is, 6 times 3 is, 7 times 3 is, 8 times 3 is, 9 times 3 is, 10 times 3 is, 11 times 3 is, 12 times 3 is. Okay, history, famous dates. Can you please tell me the year of the Great Fire of London? That's right, it was in 1666, absolutely correct. Now I wonder, can you tell me the year that England won the Football World Cup? Any ideas? It was 1966. So the Great Fire of London was 1666, and England won the World Cup, the Men's Football World Cup in 1966. See you next time.